Welcome to Yachting International Radio. You're with Karine Rayson, the director of the Crew Coach. Today I'm joined by Sam Thompson, co-founder and commercial director of JMS Yachting, a company making waves for its independent approach and unwavering commitment to supporting crew, not just ticking boxes. In a yachting industry often riddled with conflict of interest and misunderstood crew dynamics, Sam sheds light on what truly sets JMS apart: the complexities of crew management and the tough calls sometimes required to do what's right. If you've ever wondered what really goes on behind the scenes of running a super yacht and how top management companies build trust with both crew and owners, you won't want to miss this honest and eye-opening conversation. Let's jump in. Hello, everyone. I have Sam Thompson with us, co-founder of JMS. Welcome, Sam.
Good morning.
So I think we're going to dive into the nitty-gritty, a very interesting and much needed conversation. Before I do, I think we need to do a bit of an intro. Sam, I believe you've got 3 core roles at JMS from the website. That's what I it. Would you like to summarize?
Jack of all, master of none. So I'm the commercial director of JMS Yachting. I originally came in and started up JMS Careers, or JMS Crew at the time, which was a recruitment company which we tied into the management company because we recognized the need for high quality crew to be on the yachts that we look after. My role has developed as the company has grown, which we were only 2 or 3 of us in the first office, till over 40 people now and in different countries across the globe. So my role predominantly now is managing the commercial aspects of JMS Yachting, both in Monaco, but across also in Mallorca and America, and soon to be Dubai and probably Singapore as well.
Fantastic. So in terms of how you are different to other yacht management companies, what would you say would be your standout points?
The key element that we are is that we are an independent, so we don't have sales or charter arm with us. Now, there are a couple of others that are similar to us. However, we very much structured our philosophy based around our people. And we believe all of us have pretty much been to sea at a high level of command. So all our yacht managers are generally ex-captains. All our technical people are ex-class surveyors and or kind of naval architects, or, that is the element that we're looking for. That's what we're trying to bring to our team. If you are expecting to work with crew, and as I say, I've been to sea myself for many years, if you've got someone coming on board your yacht in a management capability, they've got to not only have good knowledge, but also to understand that they've kind of either been in your shoes or have enough of the experience behind them to understand and be able to give opinions which can be respected.
And I think that is a huge standout point, because I hear a lot of grievances from captains where they feel frustrated because the people within the company that they're working with, they don't have that knowledge. They don't have that experience at sea, and they feel completely misunderstood. The other aspect is conflict of interest. Having a yacht management company where you are supporting crew, but also doing sales and chartering. That is a huge conflict of interest, and crew do not feel supported. So if we had to lay the cards on the table, there is a harassment issue on board and the captain's a perpetrator, but the owner likes the captain, the victims are likely to be dismissed because you don't want to lose the client. Is that correct? Like, that would be the philosophy, right?
I think that can be the philosophy. And let's be blunt about it. I mean, there's some really, this industry is, fueled from the top down by incredibly wealthy individuals, and there's a lot of money that people will make and lose if they do lose their client. And I have absolutely no doubt that certain people will hope problems go away. We've heard about it, and Chris, we've all seen it in social media as well, and that can be the case. We do differ we believe. I mean, we actually terminated the contract of our largest client last year just before Christmas. It's made a massive difference from us financially, but it was a necessity in what we needed to do.
Mm. So, what does crew management mean to you? How do you support the crew? What does that look like from a crew perspective, but also owner perspective?
It is it varies from both angles, quite significantly, actually, to be quite honest. Um, from a crew aspect, it is really making sure that the crew have the security and the knowledge that basically they are being looked after. So not only from a contractual point of view, but also from the documentation that they're making sure that they're adhering to, and understanding that all the certificates that they require to operate safely, or as minimum safely, are being monitored, and actually you're being reminded of, to be quite honest, but also understanding process on board, right? About handbooks and understanding where your role is, who you're meant to be contacting. You're also that support line for that crew member. We do have various policies within the handbook, and it's the key thing. Everyone goes, "Oh, we've got a handbook." No one ever reads it, but it is actually there for crew to actually understand what they're meant to do in times of stress or in times of concern or trouble, and that is what crew management does, and it is your link to a wider network to be able to provide support, whether it be mental health, or whether it be grievances, or whether it be reporting various issues on board. Now, it doesn't necessarily, you generally go to your DPA or your yacht manager or your head of department initially, and there are steps to go through, but it is there. You can bypass that if you need to. From an owner's perspective, it's also like a form, I call it like a form of insurance, because clients don't want the hassle of having to deal with this, because one, they're not knowledgeable in it. If someone is coming up to you and making a claim, there's procedures. There's a way that we have to deal with that day in, day out. Everyone is different. It could be an insurance claim. It could be an assault claim. It could be a molestation charge. It could be anything. But that's what we do, right? And that's our role, is to be that point of contact, to be able to support not only the crew members, but for the clients as well. So I call it, in a way, as a form of insurance.
Okay. And how much time, from your perspective, is spent on those sort of issues that come up? Mediation and resolving those issues.
Um, but,
A lot. So,
yeah,
right.
sorry, you just broke up a bit there, but it is one of the,
You go ahead. Go ahead.
it's the one thing which the trouble is, when you have people that care, and you have people, and I'm very fortunate in the fact that I've got an amazing group of people that work with us, right? And as I say, they have been in a position of leadership, so they understand what is going through, but they have to support these people, and we support the crew throughout this process. And, we have to conduct investigations and make sure it's done properly, and do the proper due process, and interview all the relevant parties within the process, whether it be, an accident claim, then we have to handle that process throughout the whole insurance level, making sure everything is documented properly, making sure that everyone was notified at the right time, making sure that all the logs were kept. It is incredibly time sensitive, and time, the time management is just intense. And it's one of for me, it's one of the largest misconceptions about people understanding what do yacht managers do. Sit around, twiddle their thumbs, send the odd email. It's utterly crazy that our guys work so hard, and it'd be everything from processing a medical claim that has happened on board from someone who has lost a finger or whatever it may well be, and the due process you have to go through to handle that insurance claim, to make sure that this person is looked after beyond that point.
Wow.
It's just hours of work. And that's just one item on one crew member on one boat, and there's lots more.
Yeah. And I think it's really looking at the word crew support rather than management, because from my understanding, typical yacht management companies, when they do the crew management aspect of the business, it's looking at visas, flights, and expiring tickets. Like that's where they see largely their role. But as you just mentioned, it's more complicated and there's an array of issues that you've actually got to contend with when you look after people.
But it's a blurred line, right? You can say, because we quote for four aspects, right? So crew management, technical, operational, compliance, and financial management. That's the full package of remit of what we provide for yacht management services. However, crew management blurs into compliance, and compliance and crew management blur a bit into operational. And so those lines are never quite rigid. So what happens is you end up doing a bit of this and then a bit of that and a bit of all of it. And then you're going, okay, well, I'm only charging for crew management. Yeah, I seem to be doing operational, a little bit of compliance. Yeah, where does our line stop? So invariably it doesn't stop. You just carry on. But it is a tricky one. And so different people will judge it differently.
Okay, so now when it comes to captains, crew management, yacht management, and owners, clients have also said that they have felt like they've been micromanaged by yacht management companies. So, how do you facilitate that relationship and give captains the autonomy to do their job well, allowing you to do your job at the same time and funneling the information back to the owner? How does that dynamic work?
It's very simple.
Mhm,
You know, we give the captains the autonomy to run their vessels.
mhm,
We've all been there. So ultimately, they're paid more than we are,
mhm,
right? So as far as we're concerned, do your job, right? This is what we expect of you, and we all our team work autonomous, basically remotely. We don't micromanage them. We don't tell them, are they in the office at 8:30 every morning? We don't care, as long as they're doing their job and doing it correctly. Yeah, as far as we're concerned, that's great, right? If they need to go and pick their kids up from school, they go pick their kids up from school. If they need to go and watch basketball, whatever it is, right? And we expect the same with the captains. Likewise, we don't say, you have to use these people, you have to use this people, you have to do this. That doesn't work from our structure. Okay, so the way we do it is we expect them to do that. We're very much of support. We are there as a person that works very closely. Our managers work very closely with our captains and our team and their crew to try to make sure that the balance is right. Okay, we are very much a support structure. We will try and take the load away from a lot of our captains to try, and invariably it's a lot to do with dealing with class and flag and pre-planning for kind of future works coming up and getting quotations and stuff like this for shipyard works and stuff like that. But it is trying to reduce the workload on them so that they can do the day-to-day running and make it a lot easier. And at the end of the day, our role is to support our captain and crew, and it is also to guide the owners to understand how that relationship should be managed. We do get put in situations where clients will come to us and say, I don't want this and I want this to happen, right? But I want it to come from you rather than from us. So we're the bad cop, right? And that's not very pleasant, but what we have found is that people who have been in the industry understand that, and we talk to them and say, look, this is the situation. It's time we have to rectify this. And most people are very realistic about what certain owners are and the demands on certain owners. And we have a good relationship with our captains and crews. Listen, it's not always going to work. There are going to be some people who will be pissed off, and some people just doesn't. There's enough egos in this industry to understand that not everyone is going to be singing from the same page.
yeah. Okay, talking about demands, when you sign up a new client, do you offer a pre-brief process so that we don't have communication issues or expectations falling through the gap, so the owner knows what is expected, what is required? Because often you hear with sales, the brokers may sell a dream that the crew cannot meet. So that's something I'm concerned about, is the information that is being funneled to owners.
Yes, we get it a lot. One of the biggest thing, literally just this 2 days ago or whenever it was on Friday, I was talking to a broker who is a friend of mine. He likes to push my buttons because he keeps saying, "Oh, your budgets are way, way too expensive. Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. You must be taking a cut everywhere." And it got me so wound up because we pride ourselves on not taking any cuts anywhere, right? So it's plain, and we get discounts. And anyway, he pushed my buttons. But it is the case that often clients get missold how much these vessels, one, going to run, how much the crew are going to cost, and the actual salaries that are going to come with it. And so then there's a continual chase to try to save money. And when you look at the budgets, the biggest expense is always the crew. Right? It's 2/3 of most budgets, right? And they're going, well, where's the first place we're going to cut? Well, that's the first place that looks like there's an area they can cut, right? So that is invariably where the pressure lies from our side, is the owners are going, they run businesses, whether you've got family offices or owners in charge, they're always pushing, particularly the family offices, because it's their role to make the clients money, but also make sure their businesses run efficiently. And when you're seeing this, it will often be the case where the client will come and push for that side. So it is trying to manage that. And then it is also trying to give the clients the understanding of that if they invest in various structures, I also think you need to tailor the crew and the dynamic to the schedule and the itinerary of the yacht. So if a yacht is a single season med-based boat, there's a different crew dynamic than watching one which is going to be dual season full charter and it's private. It varies, right? So you've got to get that dynamic right. And it's and giving their client the full picture about what to expect. More often than not, they're practical, but there are some which just don't care, and then you get the screamers and the ones that shout, or the ones that expect all these extra. Everyone deals with those clients very differently.
Okay. So when it comes to crew longevity, what is your strategy to retain talent?
This is the eternal question. I'm sure there's 4,000,001 talks about this. You can go to various seminars and they'll ask the same question. I think they have been asking it for the last 5-10 years. It varies per yacht. For me, it is actually just finding the right people for the right itinerary. Okay, as I said, if you've got a private vessel which is single season based in the Med, find a crew which fits that. Right? Is it going to be based in Cannes or is it based in Imperial or Palma, Mallorca? If it's in one of those places, find people that actually have a lifestyle around the yacht. At the end of the day, if you're looking, that's more of a lifestyle yacht. So you've got people ashore, or you have you can go back and see family and do all this, and you understand that that's what you're looking for in your career. And I got to points in my career that I was looking for that. But when I was younger, I didn't want that at all. I wanted a boat which traveled and does charter and goes to the Caribbean, goes to Thailand, wherever it may well be. So I looked for that boat, right? So phase your try to get the crew into the roles that they fit. And then hopefully you'll get the longevity that requires it. And you're not going to get longevity all the time anyway, purely and simply because people change in their lives and in their careers. So, next year, I may be looking at something which is going to be a bit more stable. This year, I'm traveling like an absolute hound. So, I think people change. And your younger crew are going to go. They're going to progress. They're going to drive forward. Great. And that's what we want. And if you can promote them internally, even better. But it may be that you have a long-time partner that you've been with, and then suddenly that changes, and suddenly your whole outlook on life changes. So I think you're trying to say, oh, what's crew longevity? No, I think it's about trying to fit the person to the role, but even that will change.
Yeah, but I think if you understand what the vision and the mission of the vessel is and what values they subscribe to, then it's hiring for soft skills as well as hard skills to match that, and also understanding what motivates that individual. As you said, maybe it's traveling around the world or lifestyle, but over time that can get a bit old. So for someone else, it might be the tips, someone else, it might be the progression on board, the possibility to step up. So it's really deep diving to figure out what it
And
is.
and you
Wow.
exactly that, but you only ever find that out later on as well. And as I said, it changes,
Um,
right? You're only getting into that a little bit when you get to know them. It's not, no recruiter will ever find that out. They'll find bits of it, and people are remarkably shy about what they actually want and how they say it, and they just want the job more often than not, and then they'll make everything else fit around it. But then you know, that type of thing you find out as a leader on board, to be brutally honest, as a head of department, or as a captain, or whichever, you will find out what really motivates the crew within your team. We've used various profiling internally through JMS to determine where we are as leaders, but also people within our team, how they operate, how they are as a person, and what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are, and look at, and we utilize that knowledge to be able to make sure that our team perform better, but also how we as leaders can actually get the best out of our team. We think this is a real asset. We're trialing it, right? And we feel this is a real asset, and it's something that we would recommend our yacht crew to use, because it can really give a much more direct leadership strength, to be able to get the best out of your team, and hopefully it will increase longevity as well.
I'm a huge advocate for that. Yeah, especially the disc profiling, highly beneficial when it comes to looking at how you show up on board versus when you're off the boat as well. And just leveraging people's strengths and understanding how we are all different and how do you work with difference. So very, very powerful. The reason why I asked that question is because you've got a placement aspect to JMS. And obviously when you have crew turnover, that's going to support the placement aspect. So I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yes and yes and no.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll be blunt. Crew placement makes very little money,
Okay.
and people seem to think, oh, you make so much money out of it.
Mhm.
And the amount of time and effort that goes into this, it doesn't make much money at all. What it is a massive support for our management boats, and it's, if you go and look at recruitment as a whole, not just for yachting, but across the board, and you'll notice that in our team, they got professional recruitment qualifications. I got them to do this when they were our team. I asked if they wanted to, but first, but they going out and they've learned how to get a professional recruitment qualification. So for me, I'm really proud that they've gone out and done that. But the actual amount of hard work and graft that goes into it doesn't make a huge amount of money for us as a company. And to be honest, that's why people like YK just binned it off, because it's just more hard work than is necessary. However, what I do believe it provides is a really good detailed knowledge of our vessels that are in our fleet, that we can provide people that really fit the program. Devil's advocate, make a load of money on it. No, it's more, I can't tell you what a pain it is to change crew the whole time. I'm literally, as I was saying to you today, I'm here to sign up a boat today, 50 meter. I've got a broker who's saying, why don't we just get rid of the whole crew? I don't want that, right? I'm walking in with the aim to keeping the whole crew.
Nice.
Okay, because why not? There will be tweaks, because it's a very different program, and it's not going to fit everyone. So there'll be possibly one, maybe two that will change out, but we'll find that in time, right? And
Yeah, at least you retain the knowledge capital, which is very important for the owner's experience.
yeah, it's huge. But also, I, these people are young people who've got their livelihoods. They've got these jobs, right? They're excited by this. I don't want to come in and be, hatched out. Could I make a lot of money out of replacing a whole group? Probably. But am I going to do that? No. So it is, your devil advocate would be a case of if someone is in there, it's a bit harsher. That's basically saying someone's got a little bit brutal and doing all this for the cash. I'd like to think that human nature would say that doesn't happen. I know it does, but yeah, that's not how we like to operate.
Okay, so you've gained a lot of traction over the years. You're doing clearly very well as a yacht management company. Without telling us too much, what's your secret sauce? Or giving too much away? What would you say has helped accelerate your growth and gained respect? Because obviously, people on LinkedIn, when I made that post, have come flooding in recommending JMS. That was my gut feel as well. So, yeah, what is it?
Um, I would like to think that it is because we are basically being ourselves, okay, and being open and being quite transparent about it. Listen, some people like us, some people won't. We are quite blunt. My business partners are Dutch. Our yacht managers are not afraid to say when they believe something's going right or when something's going wrong. And our technical team are excellent as well, right? And to be honest, the people in our team, I'm very proud of the people we have working with us at JMS because they are genuinely brilliant people and really lovely people to go and meet out there and meet in a social environment as well. So do I think that is good? Yeah, I think the process, I think we're pretty bloody good at what we do now as well. Early doors, we were winging it probably a bit and didn't have all the structures correct, and all our documentation was not quite up there. I think now we're a really quite polished item now, and that's proven. We do get people coming back to us. We get a lot of people pushing our services forward now, and people, including people that potentially have internal management functions within a larger company, and yet we're still being promoted by the brokers to do that because they know that we're a better fit for their client than what potentially is being provided in-house, which for me is a great thing.
Mm. Well done. And I wish you all the best, Sam, for you and your team, and continue the great work.
Well, thank you very much. And I know what you're doing is also very valuable. So we've obviously talked over the years a few times as well. But yeah, and best of luck in the coming months.
Thank you.